My ancestors.
Hey, they're mine too.
Actually, every human on Earth is related to these early Homo sapiens.
Well, you might be thinking, how is this possible? Well, it's actually quite simple.
It's also the process of
Evolution.
Inertia is a property of matter. T minus 7 seconds.
Hey guys, bet you weren't expecting us, but Bill put us in charge of the show today. He had to go experiment on volcanoes. So we're here to teach you about evolution!
This is a very important topic in the science world, and is also one of the most misunderstood.
That's right, there are so many misconceptions on the evolutionary theories. What are you doing?
Show one of the misconception ideas,
Which would be?
that the eye cannot evolve through natural selection.
Of course, but don't you think we should start from the beginning?
That could work. The concept of evolution was brought out by a man of the name Charles Darwin. He came up with the most practical theory that was supported by hardcore evidence. Darwin found his evidence in the finches living in the Galapagos Island.
Now Darwin's theory of evolution was composed of three fundamental ideas. Species change over time and space, all organisms share a common ancestor with other organisms, and finally, that in Darwin's view, evolutionary changes were gradual and slow.
The main mechanism of the evolution of the eye would be natural selection. Natural selection is made up of four components: variation, inheritance, high rate of population growth, and differential survival and reproduction.
Now, when people try to disprove Darwin's theory of evolution, they tend to go right for the eye. Their main argument is how can something so complex develop through random mutations in natural selection? For instance, how can you prove the formation of the retina, pupil, and lens?
In his defense, Darwin knew right from the start the eye was going to be a challenge. However, it is not impossible through natural selection. Different types of eyes have emerged in evolutionary history, and the eye isn't even the best one from some standpoints. As blood vessels run across the surface of the retina instead of beneath it, it's easy for the vessels to lead to impaired vision. So the eye is not perfect, which can be one of the reasons proving evolution. Natural selection does not produce a perfect product. It works on the materials it has and can leave scars behind.
Look at our handy-dandy tablet of science. As you can see, there are a few models of the human eye. The first one being completely flat sensory receptor. This gives a creature a very limited focal point. However, only some animals need it. For instance, the flatworm. As time went on, the eye became more curved and gave it a concave look. This created better sight, but still blurry and unable to focus. This type of eye was unfavorable in the world, and that's why practically no creatures have this form of eye. Finally, as time went on, the lens, retina, and pupil created, forming a concave eye that has the ability to focus fully. Biologists use the range of less complex light-sensitive structures that exist in living species today to hypothesize the amount of time for the eye to evolve and what it's gone through. Here some scientists think that the eye may have evolved. The simple light-sensitive spot on the skin of some ancestral creature gave it a tiny bit of a survival advantage, perhaps allowing it to evade a predator.
Nielsen's model lens uses two thin layers of clear plastic. He can inject water in between them to make the plastic windows bulge out like a convex lens. This mimics what natural selection might have done over a few 100,000 generations, favoring animals with a rounded, transparent layer in their eyes that cause light to be focused more sharply on the retina.
So we can make it gradually from no lens at all and just continue to inject more water, making the lenses bulge more and more, and the image becomes gradually sharper and sharper. So we can go all the way gradually in very small steps from a simple pigment cup eye, which has barely got the ability to determine the direction of a light source, all the way to a complete camera type eye of the same type as we have ourselves.
Unlike most theories, which can now be proven with fossils, this one is not as simple. Reason why is because an eye is soft tissue and will decompose before turning into a fossil. So how can we have evidence to prove this idea? It's simple. Instead of looking at fossils, modern scientists will look and observe the development of eyes in embryos and comparing it to eye structures and genes across species in order to rebuild exactly what these traits arose.
According to research, our human eye, which is found in most vertebrates, was able to form its shape within a time span of about 500 million years.
What does this look like? It's hard to tell, but this is what a fossilized eye looks like. These are extremely rare, but are difficult to examine.
Now, doesn't this look more like an eye? This is the eye of a blue king crab embryo. When the eye is developing in a living creature, it makes it easier for scientists to observe and to study.
Well, that wraps up this episode. We'll see you next week, and hopefully Bill will be back.
Yes, and in next week's episode, we'll be discovering the wonderful and exciting world